You're looking over Buffalo, New York, right downtown, and welcome to the 2015 IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships. It's been an outstanding week of world-class competition, and this is the final day of qualification round as they're playing now for 7th and 8th place, and effectively that's 1st and 2nd place, as both of these teams have already been assigned to the Pool B when the next time the World Championships come around. They're the Czech Republic, are 1-3 in this tournament, and Japan still yet to get themselves a victory. And what a journey it has been for both of these sides to effectively be in the hunt. The Czech Republic would have loved to have come to Buffalo with the idea of potentially getting a bronze medal as they look from the outside in. And there you see the two teams set up for this one, as this is the big match between these two sides to determine who will be 1 and 2 in Pool B. I'm Brent Pope, and I'm joined alongside by Taylor Lipsett to give us the expert analysis on this sport. And he would know, twice a world champion himself and twice a Paralympian gold medal winner. As we look at the referees today, Robert Hallen will get the charge, and the American and Canadians on the line. And again, the officials doing a great job all week as we look at the Czech Republic. That game really against Norway, as we look back, Taylor, that kind of determined their fate.
Yeah, that was a big game for the Czechs. That was kind of the make or break for the tournament for both of those teams, and they knew that going in, and it was a tight game, but unfortunately not able to get it done, and a 3-1 loss to Norway to open the tournament.
We saw Jiří Bríza, the coach of the Czech Republic here, watching the matches that went to the semifinal yesterday, and Japan, well, it was an onslaught in the first one, and then the Czech Republic, it was a real battle, and they just narrowly lost that one in the preliminary round. Obviously, this is the repeat, as they have already been assigned, as we mentioned, to the Pool B. But Jiří Bríza was in the stands here at Harvey Center, and he was in his casual clothes, and he was watching it actually in front of our commentary position, and you can see, obviously, the disappointment that they were in this game playing today, and because they were really, as you look back to the Paralympics in Sochi in 2014, unlucky not to have got themselves a bronze medal. As you see the lineup, and then Vapenka will get the start in goal. Motichka on the blue line. He's been solid. Kubiš Geyer has all 3 goals, number 74 for the Czechs.
Yeah, Geyer is kind of the central point of this Czech team. If he's on today, then they can walk out of here with a 7th place finish. If he's not, Japan has a real chance to steal that spot from them, and then thus be the first seed in the B-Pool World Championships next time around. There
is Jiří Bríza, as I was referring to before. And the captain, Sudo, one to watch on the blue line, 24. Takahashi has been solid. Nagase, the veteran, 39 years of age, is in goal for the Japanese. And you wonder whether or not this is kind of a changing of the guard, or maybe the last time that they will continue to utilize Nagase as a starter. He hasn't been poor, but it's often, as you see at these big tournaments, maybe when times are to be changing on particular teams.
Yeah, we see that transition happening for a few of the teams here in Buffalo, New York this week. And like you said, it's just a natural progression of the sport, and as competition gets greater and more teams around the world pop up, that's just how the sport grows.
Vapenka is 41. He's 0-2 in the tournament. There you saw his goals against and his save percentage as well. A big man in goal. Difficult to get around him. He's got a great glove. So does Nagase. Nagase, though, not quite as large. He likes to come out to the top of the crease, and he's had to use that glove save as well. And he probably will really be haunted to some extent as he looks back on the goal he conceded in the final match of the preliminary round as well. But nonetheless, it's Habel and Takahashi who will take the face-off to start this final qualification match. And it's the first of 2. As in black, the Japanese will win the face-off. The Czechs in white with red and blue trim. And immediately trying to get it over the offensive zone. They are broken up. Habel likes to play the body. Shafranek to the outside to Geyer. This is the guy that you want to have the puck. He shoots it a little bit late. Nobody really challenges him on that, as he was in a good position, but again, those offsides say everything really about the team's focus and just making sure they're disciplined as they go across the line.
Yeah, one of those things, you just have to be mentally focused and ready to play the game, and unfortunately he just got ahead of the puck there, preventing a good scoring chance. But like I said a while ago, the Czechs offense is based around Geyer's performance, so they really need him to be on today.
Kubiš will take it, and again, Geyer this time is offside. And if you've been watching the National Hockey League, a controversial offside in a match between Montreal and Tampa, and twice in the opening 19 seconds offsides. And it's a saying actually that the coach of the Detroit Red Wings will often say, Mike Babcock, you've got to be ready to start the game on time. And the Czechs here, 19 seconds in, twice offside.
Maybe just a little bit too eager here off the get-go, trying to put a little too much pressure on themselves to make something happen as quick as possible, and just getting ahead of the play there.
Krupicka just makes the play up the boards. It's gathered by Takahashi. He just gets kind of shoved off of the play. The Czechs, though, 3 players in an offensive triangle looking to recover this puck. They've been able to find it. We're still inside the first minute at Harbor Center in Buffalo, New York. This is the qualification match determining 7th place in this tournament, and effectively who will be first and who will be second when they go to the World Championships next in Pool B, as we are just a minute gone, and that was a long minute to get going as Herbert back and starting this hockey game. He wasn't in the last match until, in fact, they conceded, and now Herbert out there on the blue line again for the Czechs.
Some interesting coaching decisions for the Czechs in their last game against Germany. We didn't see Vapenka starting net for them, as well as Herbeck on the bench for the first half of the game until they did give up that first goal, and unfortunately they couldn't get that goal back. And with that being such a big game that had so much meaning to it, it was interesting to see those 2 guys on the bench during that game against Germany.
And we saw the interesting decision and some other comments coming in from those watching around the world, adding their tactical advice. Even the Russians in the semifinal electing not to pull their goaltender, Plotnikov, as they were playing against the Canadians in the semifinal, and they didn't until late. And whether that was in respect for Adam Dixon potentially being able to clear it the length of the ice and his accuracy, one will never know. But it's interesting, the decisions and the timings in which they are made in ice sledge hockey, potentially a little bit different than stand-up hockey.
Yeah, coaching just as important in this game as it is in stand-up hockey as well. And definitely some questionable calls in the past couple days.
Motichka tries to get it. It just gets away from into the troughs over there. Those are the battle areas, and Geyer will come out of it. He gets hit hard, though. There's going to be a penalty on the play, and the Czechs overskated as they had really an opportunity to push the Japanese with that delayed call coming. Nonetheless, though, the penalty will be assessed against the Japanese, and going off to the box, it looks like Shioa. A real good contact, though, as Geyer was getting going here, wasn't he?
Yeah, you just see Chuo come in there and use the front of his sled as a battering ram, and in sledge hockey, that's what's known as a teeing penalty. You cannot use the front of your sled to knock a player off the puck or knock him over. It can be very dangerous, especially if the sled comes up and hits the opposing player's legs, if they're against the boards or in various other situations. And that's really the only additional penalty that you see in sledge hockey compared to stand-up hockey.
0 for 12 on the man advantage. The Czechs, this is a good position. Oh, he does fire it hard and wide, and as good an opportunity as the Czechs have wanted. The Japanese can only kill at 50%, so not really sure what that equation between the two is going to mount up to. There's opportunity, though. That one coming down the slot as good as they come.
Yeah, great opportunity. Unfortunately, Habel just wasn't able to hit the net with it, but I think he might have had Nagase a little off balance there if he would have just hit the net.
Yet to score on the power play, the Czech Republic. They started the tournament with what has been, it's a highlight goal. It was scored by Mikhail Geyer, and he has scored the 3 goals for them. And it was from his own blue line, and it was on the penalty kill. And from there, though, as they look back over the course of this tournament, it hasn't quite been the same. Berger, it's blocked with the attempt from the blue line. And remember, that was a lead they took on Norway at the time, and that was in the first game. And then interestingly, well, Norway comes right back and they scored 3 goals. And that's about the discipline. This is a turnover, though, in a position for the Japanese. Vapenka really couldn't move, but it was wide of the goal comfortably. Good
job by Japan initiating contact and pressure here in the offensive zone, even on this penalty kill here, not letting the Czechs develop any kind of momentum or flow out of their own end.
Herbeck gets hit hard. Masawa tries to play it out in front. There's still, though, a man down. The Japanese inside of 30 seconds to kill on his penalty to Showa. And it will be Berger who's battling. Shafranek will pick up this puck. And now across the red line, but the Japanese have really kind of created some confusion on this penalty kill and done a very effective job.
Yeah, doing a good job. We see here Takahashi, the first man into the defensive zone for the Japanese here, just going to waste the rest of the time off this penalty and allow his team to get back to even strength.
Right now, it's more a battle of defense than it is offense. Shioa comes back out onto the ice. Habel will move it wide side. This is Shafranek. He'll follow it up, Havel. He's got Geyer in tow, who'll come across to support him, but he elects to play it across the face of goal. And again, it's a pursuit. This is going to be a big collision. And lucky not to have. Sudo was coming to play it, but wow, the speed coming in from the Czechs.
Yeah, that's what we saw them do against the Canadians, and they held the Canadians to only 2 goals. A very impressive performance by Czech Republic, and they were just able to establish that forecheck. They used 3 guys in the zone, in the offensive zone at all times, to put pressure on the Canadians and initiate contact. And if they can do that to the Japanese today, they should have their fair share of chances.
Kubish was that dart that came flying in on the forecheck for the Czechs, and he lost his stick and ended up behind Nagase. The play was already back down in the Czech Republic end zone, and he was still recovering. And it's a really testament to coming in and making sure you come in with control, because if you come in with all types of force but with no ability to be effective in what you're trying to do, then in fact you actually take yourself out of the play.
Yeah, that's one of the most difficult things about applying pressure as a sledge hockey player is you want to separate the opposition from the puck. And we have
Here's
a chance
danger. There's a chance. Oh, wow. And it's as well taken as we have seen as elevation and elation, as we will wait to see. And it is going to be Moitichka who is the man to score, and a different scorer. As it's Kropicka, my apologies, as it was difficult just to see. They're very similar in stature, but Kropicka to get credit for this one as a service from Kubish onto his stick, and he goes down and he makes short work of it there, and he's already cheering. He almost sensed that he was going to score.
Kubish doing a great job of finding Kropicka on the backside there. He just found a way to get around Sudo and was able to wait and be patient enough, and as soon as Nagase committed down low, Kropicka just put it right up top.
Outstanding finish, his first goal of the tournament, and finally, someone other than Mikhail Geyer has scored for the Czech Republic, and it's a fantastic finish and well taken by Zdeněk Kropicka as he puts the Czechs on the board. That's where they wanted to be, and we go back talking about that first minute, how anxious they were to get in the offensive zone. They'll be feeling more comfortable now.
Without a doubt, you see Geyer already putting more pressure on the Japanese defensemen, and that's their game when they're playing their best, is to initiate contact right off the bat, establish a good forecheck, and really use 1 or 2 players in the zone to kind of hem the opposition in.
The strong play again by the very steady hand of Yuri Berger on the blue line. Yuri Berger, also his coach's name is Yuri Berger for his club team in the Czech Republic. It comes now, and it just gets to the blue line, but not quite out. Herbeck just to play it, and it's a little bit careless right now. A shot, though, quickly in, and you would almost encourage the Japanese to take a little bit more time offensively and to look to see what their options are.
That's just a product of the contact that the Czechs are establishing. They've already kind of sent a message to the Japanese players that as soon as they touch the puck, they're going to have a body on them, and what that forces the opposition to do is just rush those passes and rush those plays because they know that a Czech is coming.
A strong sequence and a crazy hop at the last second, and Herbeck with the play in. Again, another example of getting the shots on net, and only good things can happen for the offensive team. The offload to Herbeck, and Herbeck will loft it, and it's that decision as a defender to defend it and to make certain that you get it, or to get out of the way and allow the goalkeeper to see it.
One of the most difficult
Welcome to the 7th place match. It's the 7th and 8th teams already determined in this one, and they are determining how they will in fact be positioned when they play next in the World Championships in Pool B. The very stoic look of Kojin Takakita looking on for his team, as it's a steady crowd for this one, the penultimate day of this World Championships in Buffalo, New York, as Palat will get control of this offensive zone faceoff. And to the outside, maybe a chance to shoot it. There's someone in the lane, but again, it's better, I think, to shoot as it makes it more difficult for the Japanese, obviously, to defend, and particularly to get themselves comfortable defensively. As you mentioned, the pressure being put on by the Czech Republic so far, really forcing the Japanese to make decisions even in the offensive zone that are more hurried than they would like.
Exactly, and another tough thing about sledge hockey is there's so many bodies and pieces of equipment in front of the net that getting the puck on the net is never a bad thing. You never know what it can bounce off of or what kind of bounce the puck itself can take, so you'll never hear a coach complain about putting the puck on the net.
Strong play by the Czechs to follow up. They've got strength and numbers out front, onto the pass, and again, it's the danger man right now, Zdeněk Krupicka, and they score. And it's an outstanding finish to stay with it. And it looks to be Kubiš at the moment to get the final touch, but the sequence leading up to it really develops the final product.
Another great play, Krupicka on the far side just puts the puck on the net. A big juicy rebound comes out right to Kubiš. He pulls it to the backhand and puts it right over the top of Nagase.
He makes the play in, and Krupicka then gets the first shot, and then Kubiš in, and the backhand. Isn't that nifty? Up and tight on the short side, and that's where you put the old suitcases on the top shelf there. Kubiš is a goal scorer in this tournament, his first.
Two great goals by the Czechs here in the first period, and it just makes you wonder where some of that scoring has been in the previous games. They really could have used some of the support scoring against Norway in that first game and possibly would have themselves playing for a different spot in this tournament.
Great work as the Czechs now with the scoring, and they've got themselves a 2-goal lead as we get to the halfway point of this first period. They have earned it and created the opportunities, as now the Japanese coming back the other way. So that goal is going to be credited to Pavel Kubiš, and the assist going to Krupicka. That's at 7:15. That's the second goal for the Czech Republic. As now they're in behind their own goal, working to try and make their way out. Immediately, the Czechs now with their tails up, feeling more comfortable, pushing on, seeing if they can't grab a third. Yuri Berger will grab it. And how is your Berger, Yuri, as he puts it up and high under the crossbar?
Great left-handed shot from the point by Yuri Berger there. You just see him take just a hesitation there, just teeing it up. He just puts it right over the blocker side of Nagase. Just an unbelievable shot.
It is a great finish, and it sits on a plate, and Berger eats it. Puts it high in the hammock, and they've got a third one here. The Czechs are having fun.
They just doubled their goal output in the last about 3 or 4 minutes here that they've had the whole tournament, and just the ability for them to turn it on today is impressive. You know, sometimes it's tough to get yourself focused and up for a game like this, but the Czechs doing a great job of showing up to the occasion and solidifying that 7th place finish thus far.
Going back to that first goal, credit is given to Zdeněk Krupicka. He gets the goal. The assist on the play going to Pavel Kubiš. So they bookend each other as they go back and forth, and then it's the opposite for the second goal. Kubiš gets the goal, the assist to Krupicka. Without doubt, it's Yuri Berger who gets credit for the third one. We'll wait for assists on the play as Palat will pick it up. And across this offensive blue line, he is being watched and marshaled out by Ortehe, but they are looking for a fourth. And this is a team right now that's, well, where has this been is what the question is.
Without a doubt, they're making great plays. They're finding guys on the offside, making the Japanese go from side to side. And right now, the Japanese not able to keep up, and Palat was just a great drop pass to Kubiš, and a good save by Nagase to get his blocker on there. But like you said, this is a good hockey team making great plays right now.
And it is good to see, and it is obviously very difficult for any team, particularly when you know you can score and you haven't been able to, but that is the pressure of Pool A competition, particularly these Ice Sledge Hockey Championships, and the margin for error between teams that were right on. Here's Takahashi, though. Maybe a chance for Japan late. That's a nifty move around Herba because he gives him the old slipstream.
Yeah, good job by Takahashi to try to generate some chance there, but the Czechs doing a good job of coming back as a unit. You saw 4 guys back in the defensive zone there. No damage done.
To recount that last scoring play as Geyer will just send in a little pistol hard and low inside that post. The assist to Habel and also to Shafranek The goal from Berger at 8:08. It's 3-0 for the Czechs over Japan. There you see the Czech alignment getting themselves ready. We're 5-on-5, just the 4 of them. But amongst them, goal scorers. 3 different goal scorers thus far. And there has only been 6 goals in this tournament. 3 by that man on your screen, number 74, which is Mikhail Geyer. But now all of a sudden we've got 3 more, and they're all in this first 10 minutes of this qualification match. And finally, the Czechs coming to this World Championship party offensively.
Doing a great job of executing their plan today. 3 great shots, 3 great goals, and the Czechs looking like a pretty good hockey team right now.
It'll be played immediately down the ice, and such is the pressure from the Czech forwards that the Japanese immediately even on winning the face-off. And generally they're more considered, aren't they? And it's a surprise that even if they have a face-off in their own zone, that again they play it down. There is Mikhail Geyer. He is the one who scored the 3 goals for the Czech Republic in this tournament. Started off on the penalty kill. He scored an absolute beauty on a breakaway as well. And also a 3rd goal as they will battle for possession. It is in behind. And this is immediately taken, and you can sense another goal is coming. It's imminent, as the Japanese will have to really be on their toes or on the edges of their sleds to make certain that they keep this scoreline respectable.
Yeah, I made a comment at the beginning of the broadcast about Czech's offense and really defense kind of revolving around Geyer, but Kubeš is showing up and having the game of his life right now.
Oh, and a hit and a play, finishing it off though. And the goal scorer, Kropička, who has been threatening so far, not only with a goal and an assist already, he's the recipient of a pretty heavy hit on the play.
Yeah, the way his sled is set up, he's really top heavy. You just see the toe of his sled hitting the bucket of Pseudo there, and kind of an awkward jolt to his back there. He almost did a flip, but he was just able to keep himself upright.
Almost akin really to someone throwing a stick right in the bicycle spokes, as he just really got thwarted up and awkwardly jolted and landing and now into the bench area. But he has got himself and his team a power play. This will be taken by the Japanese. You thought Geyer would win it back, but he just shadows his man and elects just to get it back on a stick. He knew it was only a matter of time. Geyer's speed, though, when he is able to get going. And the challenge, though, is you invariably need somebody else with you to take away the defenders, because you can attract 2 defenders if you have that type of speed, and generally 2 defenders should be able to nullify you.
Yeah, that's why puck support in sledge hockey is so important. When you do draw that kind of attention, if you just have a guy trailing you or possibly playing on the offside a bit and really creating an opportunity, then that's how you capitalize on the other team's over pursuit or mistakes.
Herbeck back, seeing his ice time managed, really, Herbeck, and you've got a sense that maybe he's carrying an injury at this moment.
Yeah, like we mentioned, he didn't play the first half of the game against Germany. We've only seen him a limited amount of time in this first period here today, so whether it's a lack of conditioning or a possible injury, I'm not sure, but definitely not using him like we saw him used in the first few games.
Herbeck will be on the puck now. He will look to manage it. Good stop and turn. And you see the big burly frame of Herbeck, and you often kind of think that he'll be quite maybe slow and plodding just given the size of him. But with him being a double amputee, he's got that mobility, and equally he makes some really good sensible decisions back there for the Czechs, and has been a big part of really setting the table for them from the back going forward.
It takes him a few strides to get going, but once he gets his speed up, he can be very dangerous. He's obviously very agile, and he's a big body, so it's hard to knock him off the puck. He does a great job of being patient, absorbing hits, and really trying to make calm and collected plays on the back end for Czech.
50 years of age, so he's got at least another 10 years in him, hasn't he?
Possibly, possibly.
In now to the Czechs behind their goal, and Motichka is going to just battle and force this along the boards. Krapicka now helping him out, and those two getting mixed up on the first goal. As you see them very similar in stature behind the play, as the puck will go for the length and for icing, and it'll be back into the Czech zone. There we look at the two, and they were, well, they've been solid, haven't they, and dependable. And when you really try to assess this performance from the Czech Republic, yes, naturally they are disappointed that they are in this game. Maybe the Japanese anticipated that they might be. Certainly knew it was going to be a dogfight to get up into a 6th position game. But for the Czech Republic, they really were inside the top 6 coming into this World Championships. And really, where did it come undone for them?
Without a doubt, they've been in the bronze medal game.
Pseudo, a shot against Vapenka, and a good quick snap, and that's what they often do. But we'll catch our breath here as immediately the transition game from the Czechs, they take themselves offside, but they, as you say, they have been in the bronze medal discussion often at these World Championship tournaments.
Yeah, the previous 2 World Championships, they played for a bronze medal. They unfortunately came up just short in 4th place in both of those, but I think it was just a lack of execution in the preliminary round from the Czechs this week. They weren't able to capitalize on their chances against the Norwegians and fell to them 3-1. And then some interesting coaching decisions like we discussed against the Germans, and ultimately dropped that game 1-0. The only goal the Germans have scored the whole tournament, and you know that was really the difference between playing for a 5th and 6th place spot and playing in the 7th and 8th place.
It is incredible, isn't it? Germany scores 1 goal in the entire tournament, and they have preserved and safeguarded themselves in this Pool A for the World Championships when they come again in 2017. Now coming to the neutral zone. Look at this, Habel. You might need to slow him down. He was firing through. He'll lay it off for Geyer. Geyer can score from that angle. He puts it out front. The intended recipient, the captain, Szafranek. Here's Berger. He's already scored. Watch this again. Berger could delight us. He does. Oh, baby. He racks it high and up. And Berger right now is just playing his own tune.
He just did a great job of dancing right around Takahashi there. You just see a little stick handle move. Takahashi stabbing at the puck as opposed to taking the body. Just opens the lane up. There wasn't a Japanese defender between him and the net. And there was also another Czech forward just waiting in front of the net for a rebound. You see 2 Japanese defenders down below the circle. Szafranek sitting in front of the net, and Berger just with a wide open shot and put it over the glove of Nagase.
Well, apparently Yuri's Berger is very nice, thank you very much, and it's medium to medium well at the moment, and if he's to get himself a 3rd, it will in fact be a trio of goals from Berger off of that Czech blue line. And he has got that slinging sidearm left southpaw action that I love watching it, because as soon as he just comes through the shot, you never really know where it's going to go, but you always are going to know it's going to come some power.
Yeah, he's got a cannon back there on the blue line for the Czechs, and this is the Czech offense that the world's used to seeing and what's gotten them in those bronze medal games the past few World Championships. So it's good to see that the Czechs still have that kind of firepower and the ability to put the puck in the net.
And the goal will be credited to Yuri Berger, his 2nd of the hockey game. And the assist on the play to the captain, Szafranek, at 13-18. There has been a goaltending change. The Japanese, they did that quickly without us, as we were still celebrating and watching the triumphant pleasure from Berger after he gets his 2nd goal. And immediately we see Mochizuki again.
Yeah, Mochizuki actually the 3rd goaltender for the Japanese. Their backup, Fukushima, came down with some kind of sickness early on in the week and hasn't been seen since that first game against the Canadians where he saw some action.
Well, we'll just say that he's not actually missing in action. He just hasn't been on the ice, but he's still actually here at Fukushima. He's still part of the team, but you're right. We actually haven't, even if we look on the bench, we haven't even, there he is there. He's actually behind the goal, and he's watching. So to be actually not in the lineup, interesting. As you look at Mochizuki's, there is Nagase, who did start the game, but Fukushima was good, so you're right. I don't know whether it was an illness or a sickness that has prevented him from suiting up ever since, but puck down into the neutral zone and down the length of the ice. Mochizuki watching it, and it safely goes past the Japanese goal. And with 4 goals on the board already for the Czech Republic, they are having fun. Are they having a little too much fun, a little too late? Well, you can never have enough fun, can you? But Sudo Well, he has been sturdy and dependable, the captain for Japan.
Yeah, without a doubt, Japan not able to answer the call today, and it's kind of how they've played all week here, and it looks like Geyer might have one more chance here at the end of the period. He's being a little fancy.
And that's a Geyer special. He's capable of doing that. We've seen that a couple times this week, haven't we? When the players kind of scoop it up almost like a highlight for those that are more knowledgeable about European sport, and just getting it, even like lacrosse, isn't it, in the basket and then trying to just scoop it towards the goal. But they have been able to score 4 goals on 8 shots, a couple shots for the Japanese. A dominant start to this first 15 minutes in this final qualification match for 7th place. It's been a good one. If you like offense, make sure you stay tuned with us. After 1, Czech Republic 4, Japan still yet to score.
Life is complete. Yeah, I'll put money on it. And then they forget to play defense. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Welcome back to the 2015 IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships. You are looking inside of the Harbor Center, the first Niagara rink, officially the name of the facility. It's a double pad facility right adjacent to the home of the National Hockey League's Buffalo Sabres, right here in downtown of Buffalo, New York. It's on the 5th floor. You can see the I-90 just ever so slightly out there as it makes its way across the American-Canadian border. And that is the first period, Taylor, as we look back. 4-0 scoreline for the Czech Republic. They are in firm control.
Yeah, Czechs really doing a good job of executing their game plan today. You see 8 shots to the Japanese, 2 shots on goal, and scoring chances 7-1, and them to be able to capitalize on 4 of those 7 scoring chances is unbelievable, and just a Czech offense that we haven't seen this week thus far.
They have been entirely dependent this tournament thus far on Mikhail Geyer. Mikhail Geyer, though, not a part of the scoring in that first period as it opens up at Kubish to play across to Kropicka. And Kropicka really a dynamic part of starting the offense and spearheading the first period flow. Yeah,
Kropicka and Kubish opening up the scoring on both the first 2 goals there and doing a good job of playing off of each other. And then the assistant captain, Berger, really took over the game and scored the second 2 goals there. And just that one shot from Sudo was the only opportunity that the Japanese generated, and the rest of the play has really been in the Japanese defensive zone.
Yeah, he did. He opened it up, didn't he, Berger? And he really put on a clinic there the last couple goals as he does the old chopper celebration there, doesn't he? And he was flying high without a doubt. And he's on 2. He's on the cusp of a hat trick. And is he going to rock one to finish the tournament for the Czech Republic today? Well, that's yet to be determined. There you see the scoring. Kropicka starting at Kubish. They bookend each other as they assist and then each other's goals. And then Berger just steps in and shows us that he does have more than just a defensive clearing shot. He's got a goal scorer's shot. And Berger, he just reminded us there that he is ready to perform. And it's nice to see when you have been kind of expecting more from this Czech offense throughout the entire tournament.
They've been struggling to really establish a consistent flow and consistent scoring chances on their opponents throughout the week here. So they've been playing hard, though. You know, they played Canada just to a 2-0 loss, unfortunately, and they played the Norwegians very hard as well, but weren't able to capitalize on their scoring chances, and today we're seeing them capitalize.
Moshisuki still in goal. He came in after the fourth one conceded by Nagase. And it was time, really, as Nakakita, the coach, looked on and said, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stop the bleeding, but certainly another goaltender is going to have a little look at the cut that they currently are suffering, the Japanese. They are, well, they're in tough. They're in tough, and it doesn't look as though they are necessarily going to respond much either, to generate a whole lot of offensive output in that first period. But this is a new period and a new opportunity, but the Czechs will take possession. A shot from a distance, it will go to the right of the Japanese goal. Sudo is back, and he has logged so many minutes for this team. He'll make another clever play. Kumagai, he's got a couple goals. The 2 goals the Japanese do have in his tournament belong to him, number 96, as they will force on the forecheck inside of this opening 30 seconds. And just patient buildup is awaiting just to see where the passing lane would best develop. Shafranek will get it, and it will get out into the neutral zone. And the Czechs can just maybe realign themselves defensively. Geyer, you're really waiting for him to step in. Now we're seeing Hordehe. Hordehe drops an attack, Takahashi, and it's to the right side. It just goes past the glove of Vapenka, and I'm not sure if that was more by luck than it was by design, but the overlap actually presented the shooting angle.
Yeah, good job by the Japanese to establish some pressure here in the offensive zone at the beginning of the second period. We haven't really seen a lot from Takahashi or Kumagai today, 2 players that have kind of put their, oh, here we go.
Hey, right into the body of Vapenka. There's a lot of it, let me tell you. And he's in the way now. Misawa trying to come around the other way. And the big man, 6'4" in height, but his size is, I bet you he's at least a couple bills as Vapenka in there, as he will take away the middle of the net very comfortably against any shooter.
I've played a number of games against the Czech Republic and Vapenka in net, and he does take up a lot of net. As a shooter, when you're coming in, you don't have a lot of open spots to look at, and you really have to force yourself to try to really place perfect placement on each shot, and a lot of times that gets to shooters, but you know, like you said, just takes away the angles and not a lot of open space.
Kropichka lowering the boom out there. He starts to score and gets on the board, and now he's like the Tasmanian devil as he just rocks Takahashi. But watch this play. This was the chance for Takahashi, leaving it on. Hordehe just does the drive-through and leaves it for Takahashi to get the shot on there. And this was
net there, and he was just so close to the crease, just didn't have anywhere to put it.
Starting to make their way out. Power play now, the Czech Republic with control. The penalty going to Kumagai. Mikal Geyer, we haven't seen a lot of him yet. Maybe more of an opportunity with the extra man advantage out here. Habel to take this one. Geyer is the man on the left flank here, just kind of coming around the late left end. And he can't get to it. They'll go all the way back now. Vapenka not even moving in the goal. He's just throwing the glove out there and indicating like an air traffic controller. It's in the left corner. Well, his teammates know it, and they're going to work now. Kubic to get it out the neutral zone, trying to hook up with Habel. And he will then be forced to give it up temporarily. He'll get it back now. Habel just seeing what's available. He's got a late option to pass it to Kubic. They'll return though. Motichka and Shafranek just looking to see how they want to develop this power play. And it looks a little bit at the moment like it's not entirely sure what it wants to do.
Yeah, they're a little disjointed here, which is different than what we saw in the first period, where they were making great stick-to-stick passes and good shots on goal, but doing a good job of just being patient right now and trying to set something up.
Geyer will just reload, and Kubic is the man who will pick it up, and just really the activation point as to who the puck is designed to run through and where the plays will then be directed from is kind of what it's lacking at the moment, this power play, and that's why it gets cleared down the ice, and they will chase at the Japanese and put a forecheck on. Shiba, the first one to really watch and see how Kubic wants to break himself out, but with 30 seconds remaining on this Czech power play, a little bit of a meek start offensively, considering they were so high-powered in that first period, but it is a reload out now and a wide side play. Novak coming in. Rawl is going to get a chance in. He's drawn a penalty. Oh, he's denied though. Moshisuki throws out the double pad stack there and denies them. But there was a penalty already coming into play, and the Czechs are going to have a 2-minute advantage for at least 15 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like a hooking penalty possibly. Going to get a slash here. You just see a great play, and the Japanese defense didn't have any choice but to try to hook on there to roll. Still got the shot off, so no penalty shot or anything like that, but a great play by the Czechs to gain offensive zone entry.
Mochizuki had to make that save, though. That was going in, and he does. He decides to lay down and cover that right post at the nick of time, and he prevents a 5th goal for the Czechs in that sequence. 5-on-3, the advantage now for the Czech Republic. They'll have to replace the face-off man, and it's a slashing call indicated going against Nakamura. And the Japanese will be right against the wall here. Loose puck. Will they give it up or will they shoot it? It's blocked. And the ricochet off of the block shot almost coming outside of the zone. It's kept in. Back to 5-on-4. Berger. And you know he's right on the cusp of one as Kumagai comes darting out of the box. And like a bullet, he's across the ice. And the Shinkansen is like the bullet train in Japan. And Kumagai, almost like the Shinkansen there as he comes flying out in the defensive zone. This will be Novak to return and get himself recollected. A pass. There is the power play for the Czechs. 0 for 2 in this tournament. And it looks likely that it's going to be 0 for 3 the way they're going right now, but it's broken up. Japanese will recover that puck. Takahashi just with a considered approach, as is always the case with Takahashi. He'll just lay it in, and precious possession is now in favor of the Japanese as they take their good defensive positioning. Coming through, though, the speed of Habel in support. The play unable to be connected at the time. The delayed offside is indicated. It's allowed to continue. Everything's back on side. It just gets past the defensive stick of Takahashi. And it's actually turned over. Here's Berger. Do we tempt it? And is it on the cards? Oh, a delayed offside. How difficult in the second period, those line changes and where the bench door is positioned. Yeah,
it's a big part of the game of sledge hockey because it does take a little bit extra time to get back to your bench. And yeah, in the second period, that's a long change, but a chance here for Shafranek.
And is there too many men on the ice is the indication, and that was kind of an aggressive call from the linesman because there are sticks on the ice out in front of the Japanese bench, and there was a player that took a while to get on the ice, and you wonder that the Czechs were looking to get that breakaway and take advantage, and they jumped the gun.
It looks like they did, yeah. Berger just wasn't all the way on the bench yet, and Shafranek trying to pick the puck up to get an easy breakaway.
There's some confusion. But there's no confusion as to where the face-off is going to initiate to start play again. It's down in the Czech zone, so therefore a penalty coming up against the Czech Republic, and it's number 24 coming across the servant, Zdeněk Šafranek, the captain, and whether or not he was the man who was responsible for the misalignment in the penalty change or whether he's just leading from the front with that C on his shirt and serving his penalty as directed by Yuri Briza. 8:32 remaining in the second period. We're 4-on-4 for 24 seconds, and then the Japanese will have a power play opportunity as the commencement of play, and they will battle now, the Czechs, just to try and get forward, lofted into a position, and Geyer, the intended target on the other end, he can't get to it, and it is too many men on the ice to get assessed for at 6:28 in the second period. And that's obviously a bench minor penalty being served by Shafranek in this instance. And now the power play for Japan. Ortega letting it go through. And Takahashi kind of gets into his own accident there as he runs himself right into the boards. Picked up. Geyer, watch it here. Geyer into the body. Mochizuki, another outstanding save, his second of the period.
Yeah, great save there by Mochizuki. And he's that's on Geyer, one of the top goal scorers in the tournament here. So definitely a shooter that has plenty of capability of putting the puck where he wants it. You see him go left to right and just able to get his body in front of the shot there.
Geyer had to come around, and he prefers to shoot with the right hand. And as he turned to the right side, actually coming away from the goal, the way his body was positioned, he can shoot right here. Palat, and there is the Japanese power play, 1 for 11 in this tournament. And whether or not they can go 2 for 12, remaining 1 minute and 16 seconds will determine it. 5 for 6, the Czechs, though, on the kill. And it would be good to see the Japanese offensively get themselves ignited, give this game a little bit more breadth and a little bit more both sides.
And we've seen them with the ability to score goals from Kumagai and then Sudo back on the point has a cannon of a shot. So if they can get some pressure in the offensive zone, they're definitely able to score some goals.
Good to see Herbeck back out on the ice. He gets bumped a little bit there, but he makes a play up, and they will try to get across the offensive line. Remember, Herbeck was kind of bumped on a play. It was a penalty taken by the Japanese, and he was a while getting up, more than maybe we anticipated considering the collision. But it is now a play for the Czechs to resume and to recontrol in the neutral zone. They'll reassert themselves as they have left the offensive zone. Again, the very sturdy and dependable considered play really from the Japanese. It hasn't been overly forceful today, has it?
Not at all, and you'd think you'd like to see a little bit more here on the power play opportunity, but the Czechs really just taking it to them right now, even controlling the play in the zone here.
Berger was just putting it into an area where maybe he could get a favorable bounce. Remember, Berger's got 2, and I got a feeling he's got a third one somewhere in his locker, but it's a ways away yet as he's in his own defensive zone. Herbeck will just lay it up, Rawl to take it forward, wide side, looking to get that over to Palat. Takahashi will control it, and neither side really asserting themselves at this moment in the second period. The shot still heavily favoring the Czechs, 11-2, but Penka will just sprawl out, grab that puck. He thought he had it. He didn't quite, as Kumagai was right in his kitchen. But that is the score in the second period with 6:11 to go. Czech Republic 4-0 up over Japan. Welcome back to the action at the Harbor Center. There has been a change in goal for the Czech Republic. Jan Matušek is back in the pipes. Vapenka has come out as we're over the halfway point in the game. There you look at his numbers, 1-1. That victory they do get in the preliminary round. Matušek, he's been solid, the younger of the two. Vapenka now 41 years of age. There you see him adjusting his equipment and then getting himself back in a better position in which to observe the rest of this match. And the face-off won by the Czechs, and into an area immediately into the corner. The Japanese assert themselves, but they don't maintain control, or do they? Comes up, hit off the play. Motichka, the defender, in a strong position. He's got Havel, puck supporting defensively too. And Havel will find the way to get to the puck first, but if they've been able to successfully move it in a positive direction, the Czechs, they are still locked into that corner. The Zamboni corner in this Harbor Center arena. It catches a little bit of something, skips across the Geyer. 2-on-1 developing for the Czechs. Geyer can shoot. Geyer offloads. And it was a classic case of the motto that I love so much from Coach Jeff Sauer from the American team. There's another shot, and it's blocked out as Shafranek gets a shot in. Motichka, he'll get bumped off the plate. And Kubish again, and I'll let you remind us again, Taylor, about that particular motto from Jeff Sauer. It says everything really about decision making in this sport and most sports.
Yeah, exactly, and the idea is just to make a play when you should and when it's available, as opposed to making it when you have to or when you're forced to.
Havel with a good shot coming in inside of 5 minutes of the second period. The Czechs look to be right on the cusp of scoring a fifth goal. The captain, Shafranek, he's been involved in his scoring. That's a solid pass, but that one there is a more defensive pass. They were in a position potentially to shoot, but it says a lot about the Japanese and their alignment in front of the goal to block the shots. Berger, I want to see him take that southpaw action. He puts this one diagonally in the corner on the forecheck. And we say that because he's a defenseman, really, for the Czech Republic, or certainly he's had to play that role, but already has 2 goals in this hockey game, as it'll get played in deep and down and around. And we haven't seen hat tricks since the Canadians. Canadians had a couple hat tricks there in their opener against the Japanese, and I don't think we've seen a hat trick in this tournament since. But the Japanese now are in control, working, and they are strong in their resilience. And a very proud hockey nation as they will try to work themselves into a position in which to really test Matuszek in goal for the Czech Republic, who's just come in the last couple of minutes to replace Mikhail Vapenka. Kumagai is down. Berger rams right through. Pallet will pick this up now, and immediately he is met, and it's just singular approaches right now. You really need much better puck support with speed to come through if you want to create an advantage, and certainly a good scoring chance.
Interesting note on the Czech goalie exchange there. It seems as though they came into the tournament with the idea that each goalie would play half of the tournament. We've seen both goalies start 2 games, and now we've seen Vapenka play half of this game, and Matuszek came in right at just under the halfway mark of this game here. So maybe that was the strategy that the Czech coach was trying to employ, is just both goalies getting equal time.
It's so important. You even mentioned about Kyle Huckabee of the American program, how he came in the semifinal when it looked to be that the Americans were certain to be going through to the gold medal, and it was an important allocation of ice time, and it is that balance between performance now and making sure that you are giving enough for your players to have the opportunity to develop in real minutes. It's one thing getting them an exhibition series, but at a World Championships, you need to play. Nothing is a substitution for playing time.
Exactly, and the Americans specifically don't like to leave any box unchecked, and that's just one of those boxes, getting each player experience at this level that they can now check off. Every player in their lineup has seen World Championship action now, and none of those players will ever be World Championship rookies again, and they can put that experience and keep it in their back pocket for the future. It
is part of the process, though, of the coaching staff, not only empowering the athlete, but also placing a level of accountability on them. As Herbeck will, with a wry smile, make himself out of the break. 4-0 the Czech Republic over Japan. There is Kumagai. He has 2 goals, the 2 for Japan in this tournament. Has he got a third? Can he get the Japanese on the board? 2:35 remaining in this second period, and you can feel a little bit of the air being squeezed out of this Japanese team. Both of these sides are already going into Pool B at the next World Championships. They know that. It's just whether they're going to be 1 and 2, and what sort of difference does that actually make, Taylor?
Yeah, it does make a big difference, because that splits you into different brackets and who you're playing against. And the teams that they're going to be replacing is actually South Korea and Sweden, who finished 1st and 2nd respectively in this year's B-Pool World Championship. So they're going to be interchanging with each other, and in 2017 you'll see South Korea and Sweden playing in the 7th and 8th spot in the A-Pool World Championship.
And interesting for South Korea, as in Pyeongchang and South Korea in 2018 is the Paralympic Games. So they get themselves back in a position to be playing amongst the best teams, and they need that. Would they have had automatic qualification to the Paralympics in South Korea regardless?
They would have had automatic qualification, but they're much more focused on performance-based qualification, and that means a lot to them. And we've actually seen them win a World Championship silver medal in 2012, so they're a team that can compete at this level, and they're definitely going to be focused on getting back on the podium in 2018.
Battle commences at the blue line. We're marching down 2 minutes inside of this second period, and the Czech Republic with a flurry of goals in the first, and we haven't seen anything as of yet like it in the second period. Have they done the job, and are they just now allocating ice time? Well, that is to be determined, as there's a loose puck there. Takahashi comes in. Matuszek doesn't entirely know where it is. A penalty has been drawn, and that is the difficult part, isn't it? The goaltender can't feel it. What a save by Matuszek right there in the dying seconds, and the Japanese come as close as they have.
That was a great save by Matuszek there. You see Sudo just come right down the slot and receive a perfect pass, and he puts it on net, but Matuszek just able to get enough on it to stop it right there in the crease.
Penalty now coming in And it's going to be for holding the indication. And that was as sustained a pressure that we have seen from Japan in this hockey game. Matushik, though, really being challenged. And in that situation, Vapenka, a bigger body, maybe not having to rely on that glove save, keeping it close to his body. Matushik does well to control it because you almost see that he thought he was scored on or the puck was rattling around on the first chance. But a power play for Japan. Sudo to wrap around and quickly Pallet just gets in there and swipes it away from him. Sudo back, he'll lay it on for Takahashi. Up to Sudo, kind of a 1-2 punch for Japan. They can't do much with it. Palat will allow Raul to apply the forecheck. And this is Sudo back in a defensive area. The penalty, it's a holding one against Habel. And Habel gets that, so the Japanese power play, 0 for 1. Inside of a minute in the second. Have they got anything in store? Herbeck coming back and lowering the boom by the penalty box area. Yuri Berger. Will we see him again in the offensive zone in this particular match? He's got a couple in the holster already. This is Masawa moving forward. A misconstrued pass that will be sent down the ice. And now 30 seconds to count. Can they get to a loose puck? In front is Raul. Palat is trying to open it up. Back to the blue line. Here is Berger. A shot in and the block by Kumagai before it can get in on top of goal. Mochizuki is right wrapped up with the player in front, Raul, and the net was wide open.
Yeah, Sudo had Raul wrapped up there and he wasn't able to get out of the creased area. And a good chance for Herbeck to put the puck in an open net, but it just went wide.
Mochizuki wrapped up in the camel clutch in front and the net was wide open. Here's a play late. And it's the danger coming from Raul, the Czech forward. And the end of 30 minutes has now come upon us. The Czechs, though, in dominant form after the first period, and they have a couple late phases here in the second.
Yeah, doing a good job on the penalty kill here of applying pressure. Had a good couple chances there late, but not able to squeak one in the second period.
The Czech Republic will regroup, so will the Japanese. That is 2 periods in the bank in this final qualification match. 4-0 for the Czech Republic over Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome back to Buffalo, New York, and the Harbor Center, home of the 2015 IPC Ice Sledge Hockey World Championships, and we are just set ahead and ready for the third period to resume. And as the action has been pretty consistent so far, all the scoring in the first period, Taylor, the Czech Republic coming out of the gates and making sure that they really control this game. They are definitely in the driver's seat, as we saw over the first 30 minutes, as we look back over the stats.
Yeah, a little bit more even flow in the second period there. Czech still dominating the stats here. 13-3 in the shots category, 14-4 in scoring chances, even in face-offs, which is kind of surprising because the Japanese team has done a good job this week of dominating in the face-off circle, but just not able to generate any offense from those face-off wins.
And we had seen really the adjustment to Takahashi being the face-off taker, as you see him have a good chance to go early. And Vapenka was still in net then, and there he was. Vapenka, the big shadow, casting over on that shot, an opportunity from the Japanese, and he was good for his efforts today. Vapenka, a clean sheet as he, well, Geyer, we haven't seen a whole lot of him yet. He hasn't actually figured in the scoring as Geyer. He had scored the 3 goals the Czech Republic had in this tournament leading up to today, but a much more balanced Czech attack in this hockey game.
Yeah, and we've seen a goaltender change on the Czech side as well as the Japanese side. So both teams trying to get all the players involved here. But yeah, both backup goaltenders doing a good job of keeping the both teams scoreless in the second period there. And I would expect to see Geyer maybe be a little bit more offensive this period and get himself on the board, and maybe we'll see a hat trick from assistant captain Yuri Berger.
Yuri Berger, 39 years of age. Mikhail Geyer, well, he's relatively young. He's 28 years of age. He's still in his 20s. He's got much more ahead of him for this Czech Republic program that maybe was seen to be aging a little bit, and possibly that caught up to him when the margins for success at a World Championship tournament is so exact and so fine.
Yeah, especially when these other teams in the country are coming with much younger rosters now. The average age of the United States is under 24 years old. Like you just mentioned, some of the younger players on the Czech Republic. Norway bringing a few younger players, 20 and under. So that's one of the lifebloods of this sport and of these teams, is developing those younger talents in these countries. And really that's the basis of success in this sport.
Yuri Berger, and that is Yuri Briza. Not to be confused. And we saw really a tremendous save. And Matuszek, who has come in goal, he is 29. Vapenka went out, he's 41 years of age. And Matuszek actually making, shall we say it, a comparable save to the Czech goaltending Supremo, that is Dominik Hasek. No longer, and he once of the Buffalo Sabres, playing here right beside this Harbor Center as you're watching the action commence and return as the third period underway. Moshi Suki in goal now for Japan. Sudo is knocked off the play. It's out in front. Mochizuki's the only one to see where it is. Shafranek immediately on top of it, and he comes powering in to get a loose puck. And look at all the defenders back for Japan. It's going to be difficult for the Czechs to break this down as Kubic would just close down the angle. That penalty has now expired to Habel as he's back on the ice. They do a great job to immediately put pressure on the Japanese, and that is a real car crash collision in the middle. The referee electing to blow the whistle as it was not expecting the contact more than the force of the contact.
Yeah, it was a real dangerous play there. It was actually two Czech players that hit each other first, and then Sudo tries to avoid it, and you see the foot of his sled hit Habel right under the face mask in the chin there. So a real dangerous play. I'm not sure why Sudo lifted up his leg. Like I said, I think he was just trying to avoid the collision in front of him, but unfortunately Habel got it just under the face mask there.
They can be dangerous collisions, and it is a real responsibility for each player to make sure that they engage, definitely just using their body. And we've seen a lot of that in this tournament this week, where the teeing penalty has been the most common infraction.
Yeah, it can be a very dangerous thing to use your sled as a battering ram. I'm actually one of the players that has received a broken leg because of that play. I was up against the boards, and the player came in and just lifted the front of his sleds and went right into my shins. And with nowhere to go, you know, I didn't have much choice, and the body can only take so much, right?
Exactly, and the Japanese now will put the pressure on. A penalty now coming up, and it's going to be against the Czech Republic. And you talk about that play, and you know, it's a real reminder of just the force of what goes on, and you know, to receive actually a broken leg, and that was during the tournament in which you have led this American program in scoring in 2012.
Yeah, that season I broke my leg just about a month and a half shy of the World Championships that were held in Norway, and played those World Championships in a lower leg cast, and like you just mentioned, was able to put some goals in the back of the net for Team USA on the way to our second World Championship gold medal. But yeah, definitely a very physical sport. And one thing a lot of people don't realize is that the boards at the bottom down there where we received most of the contact and checks doesn't give like the top glass does, like you see in stand-up hockey where players get checked into that and the glass moves and gives a bit. The bottom of the boards don't give at all, so it's like running into a cement wall.
The puck is continually just being held against the board. The referee electing to call a pass with the hand call, and it looks to be that it's coming outside of the Czech zone. So the penalty going to be coming against Yuri Berger as you look at the adjustment of the equipment of the Japanese players. So Yuri Berger at 101. The Japanese 0 for 2 on the power play opportunities that they have had in this game. And Berger, well, he's not going to score a hat trick if he's in the penalty box.
That's exactly right. Taking away his opportunities there to get himself a nice little last game hat trick. Not many players in this tournament have been able to score a hat trick against any team, so I think we've had a couple from the Canadians, but that's about it. So an opportunity to be in a class of his own there with a couple Canadians.
Yeah, a couple hat tricks against the Japanese, possibly a third one in store. Takahashi in now to Kumagai, laying it off. Is this an opportunity to fire? It is. Sudo. And he'll send it across the face of goal, and it'll be kept in at this side. And Sudo, that's as good a chance as you want to have looking at the pipes.
Yeah, one of the things that Coach Kojin of Japan is going to be upset about this week is the Japanese not capitalizing on their opportunities and hitting the net. They've just missed the net too many times, and you can't score a goal if you don't hit the net.
Japan just trying to recover this puck. They're in a position here. Takahashi, is he going to shoot? He lays it off. Masawa now. Masawa, and he'll scramble. And Matushik just takes it in the glove, and it's uneventful in the end as he just covers it comfortably.
That's a good job by Matushik there to scoop it up there. Kumagai was coming on the backside for an easy tap in if he hadn't gotten control of that puck there. But a couple good flurries there for Japan.
A face-off to the right of Matushik as he looks down this harbor center ice. And the man advantage still for 30 more seconds for Japan. Shafranek a little bit late arriving to that face-off, and the linesman electing to remove him. It really is about you have to arrive on time for the face-off. You have a short window.
Yeah, it's something that these officials this week have been very strict about. They want both teams to be set up when they're ready to drop the puck, and We've seen a number of centermen get tossed out of the face-off circle as a result of being a little bit too late.
Geyer looking to do the up and over. He does the up and over himself, and kind of almost as you might think somebody would be ending up in as if they were going to go in a barrel over the Niagara Falls. He just gets thrown up around as Berger is back and on the ice. And it's 5-on-5. Yuri Berger, the man to watch. He's on a cusp of a hat trick. He was 2 goals off of his stick in the first period. Nothing yet, though, through the second, and now we're into the third. Just under 11:40 to go as the Japanese 5-on-5 will come through the neutral zone. Looking to get across the line. That's a little give and go. Hordehay can't get the go, though, and get back on top of the play. There's the aforementioned Yuri Berger, the veteran. Sudo's in a position here. He should get a chance to score. And it's a little bit of a weak shot. Matushik will take it. It scrambles out, squirts out. Now the other way. Pallet looking to get an angle. It's just about kept in. It's not, though. It's a delayed call, and it's a offside against Japan. They'll have to regroup at the blue line. It allows for more time. And the Czechs are able to make their way out. Herbik, a pass up to Palats, and he can't get it all in one motion, but he will now. He'll chip it in behind the goal. Moshisuki looking on. He's made a couple great saves since coming in, Moshisuki, and we've seen 3 goaltenders for the Japanese. And silly, as we see a penalty. No, it's actually a stoppage in play. It's Palat who looks to be injured on the play out in front of the Japanese bench, and I think that was, we'll just watch it again because this was just a play where he bumped it in, and there it is. The skate looks to be on his hand, and that will leave a mark.
I can't tell if it's his hand or if Kumagai's sled got up into his leg, just like that play I was just talking about. At the last second, Kumagai raises the front of his sled as he initiates body contact, and up against the boards there's nowhere for that force to go, and I think the end of his sled just hit his shin into the boards there, and he immediately went down. So hopefully his leg is all right.
He looks to be in some discomfort as he is removed from the playing surface. 4-0 for the Czech Republic, and we'll have a little pause before we return to action in this third period. Back to this 7th place qualification match. And the Japanese are yet to get on the board in this one. They have scored a couple goals in this tournament, but not to be yet today. That's a great hit coming in. Is Mauro, who just took his man off the play. That is a goal scorer. Krapicka has got one. Yuri Berger, he's got 2. Is he going to load up for another one? And it's bouncing and hopping its way to the goal line and won't make it.
Another good chance there for Berger to capitalize on that hat trick possibility, but the Japanese defense just doing a good job of knocking it down before it got to the net.
It's cleared and out, and as Habel goes back to get it, you seem pretty certain that the injury suffered on the play to Palat was actually, oh, that's a big hit, and that is like 2 trains in the middle of the night. And then there's another hit over here. The Czechs actually running into each other, and it looks a little bit like both teams getting tired. Yeah,
both teams just worn out from a long week of competition. And you see here's the hit behind the net, and it looks like Habel was just trying to avoid the hit there, and the Japanese defender reaching out with his hand. You can see his elbow there, just getting him in the shoulder, and you can't stick your elbow out like that to initiate contact. That's a penalty in stand-up hockey as well as sledge hockey. And then, yeah, on the tail end there, you saw the 2 Czech players running into each other, just a little miscommunication. Hopefully everybody's all right now. A couple big hits here in the last minute or so. The game getting a little bit sloppy, some might say, but 10 minutes to go.
That looked like a good old Texas clothesline in behind the net there. As the power play again for the Czech Republic. The penalty is an elbowing call, and it's going to be actually debatable. And then there's that Shioa going into the box. Wide open, Geyer off the post twice, and Moshisuki doing enough to keep him out as they are quick out of the gates with this power play opportunity. They'll keep it in. And now It'll just squirt out to Geyer. Geyer just trying to force it out front for Rawl. They're going to just lie on the puck. The referee won't allow it if you have it on your hand, but you seem to be able to have your body. You can lay on it to a degree. As Kubish now in a position. Kubish is dangerous right here. He's got to score. He does. Inside the right post. And if you have that much time, generally good things happen for the offensive team. And it will be a wonderfully taken goal by Pavel Kubish. The 5th one, and it's on the power play for the Czechs.
You see the Japanese here just going for the puck with their sticks and not using their bodies to separate Kubish from the puck, and consequently he's just going to be able to walk down the middle of the ice here and put a good shot on goal after going from left to right.
Oh, it's a perfect shot though too, isn't it? And it didn't have to be perfect, as there was more room over there, but he did just get it right inside the post, and a little bit of a regrouping by the Czechs. As you see, it's the 2nd goal of the tournament for Kubish, and his 2nd goal of today. He was involved on the 2nd goal as well, so he gets the 2nd and the 5th. But this Czech team right now, they're really kind of low in numbers over on their bench, as it is touched high sticking. Japan allowed to continue to play, and a few bodies already making their way to that bench or into their dressing room.
Yeah, a couple injuries there the past few minutes here, but the Czechs going to remain strong here, and Geyer trying to initiate some more opportunities.
Geyer trying to go across in front. Safranek was the intended target. In goal, that's up, that's knocked out by an elbow, and whether or not it can be recovered, here is Yuri Berger. Yuri Berger's up and wide. Is a little bit of something extra on that one. It's a power play goal as credited to Kubish. And the assist now going down. It's going to be a penalty against the Czech Republic. And Berger, he throws up the old elbow. And we've seen a couple of those now. And these guys, whether it's just getting a little tired of maybe being disciplined with their hitting, just deciding to maybe play a little bit outside of the rules of the game at the moment.
Yeah, just both teams being a little lazy here in the 3rd period. And that's just a result of a long week and playing against a lot of good sledge hockey players and teams throughout this tournament. Just trying to be a little lazy and use the elbow instead of trying to use your angles and using your shoulder.
It is out, and possibly Hordahey to get a shot in, and he just sizzles one past the right post low, as they will get to the rebound with Sawa to collect it. Waiting to see whether or not he can open up an option. It's Takahashi. He's trying to get the angle to Kumagai. Why not? He has scored already in this tournament. Kumagai in a spot. Takahashi to follow up. Oh my! And Takahashi just rips it off the crossbar and down for the first Japanese goal in this game, and it's a beauty.
That is a goal scorer's goal, and that's what you call going bar down in the hockey world. Just an unbelievable play. Takahashi corralling the rebound there and just goes bar down. Unbelievable shot. Probably one of the nicest goals we've seen all tournament. You just wonder where that's been for Takahashi the other previous 4 games.
Takahashi, he comes out of that. He barely even celebrates, as he knew that maybe that goal should have come off of his stick possibly earlier in this tournament. But you talk about a finish and take it out of context of where it sits. It is one of the best looking goals taken in these World Championships.
That's just an unbelievable goal, world-class goal there. One of my favorite kind, going bar down over the goalie's shoulder.
It's what I used to do every game, Taylor. And if you believe that, you need to make sure. Here we are, back to action. Mikael Geyer with the puck, an opportunity to recover it. And great to see the Japanese get on the board, as it is Safranek now who leaves it to be picked up by Geyer and collected down low one more time. Here they are, the Czechs one more time. Can they jam one in? The Japanese will lay down in front of Mochizuki. They do enough to recover, and they'll try and make their way out, and they do just get the puck out, as we're the halfway point now done in this 3rd period. Japan on the board, and they get themselves a goal that will be remembered. Certainly one of those that you would want to have as a highlight of your World Championships, although there's a hit from Geyer, another penalty, and we are seeing the team penalty expected, but we are seeing some sloppy stages in this tournament, and it is exhausting. Not only is it because of now they're playing in their 5th hockey game, as you watch it again here from Geyer, and maybe a little bit of the frustration as to where this game sits for both of them as they're fighting for effectively 7th and 8th place. But the intensity in which this tournament is played at has to take its toll, and as you said, it does.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's a very taxing sport. Hockey in general is a very physically demanding sport, and then for these athletes to be playing 5 games over the past 10 days, it's not easy. It's not easy, and it does take a toll on the body. And I don't think Michael Geyer was trying to do any damage there. The Japanese player just lost the puck behind him and tried to turn back at the last second, and just an unfortunate circumstance.
Hordehay, and that's as hard a shot as we have seen come off of his stick this week, as he just unloads, and it's directed towards goal, but as so often the case, it is wide. This one now coming out into a position, the offload for Sudo. You think Sudo's got one in the barrel. He'll let it go as he just coils it back. And Takahashi, who is the goal scorer for Japan today, in a position. Takahashi, the feed. Hordehay was back to the play, though. It's a little bit pedestrian on the build-up, though, for the Japanese. And as a result, the Czechs will read it and send it down the length of the ice.
Yeah, just trying to force too much to the middle there. The Czechs doing a good job of clogging it up, not letting the Japanese find an easy shot lane through the middle of the ice there. And the Japanese are going to have to be a little more creative.
Here they are. They've got 1 goal already in the power play. If they got 2, Kumbagai has scored Matushik. But whether or not he has had the puck go across the line in the same sequence to be determined. There's no doubt that the puck, you would say from here, was under Matushik. It's ruled off as no goal. It would be great to see that again on the replay. But I think not only does Kumbagai almost score his own helmet, that's across the line for sure. It's whether or not, when the whistle was blown, had the goaltender been able to keep the puck in front of the goal line as we watch it again.
Just losing his edge and basically ramming Matushik into the net there. You see the first save, and yeah, that's definitely goaltender interference. Matushik not able to defend himself there as Kumbagai just comes barreling in.
And we saw another goal similar to that scored by Billy Bridges in the semifinal, where why was Bridges' goal allowed and that one disallowed?
Bridges didn't make direct contact with his sled on the goaltender from Norway, or from Russia, I'm sorry. He just was able to touch the puck in into the goal area, and the puck actually was knocked in over the goal line by the Russian goalie's leg pads. He himself knocked the puck in. It wasn't an act of Billy Bridges pushing him into the net.
And there you go. If you were watching, you saw that semifinal. Those are the subtle differences, because you may see on replay it looks very similar, particularly at top speed. The Japanese now going back in their own zone. They are under now 30 seconds on this power play. Geyer, the man in the box, and Geyer has not been particularly involved in the offense today. He's done a lot of work for the Czechs throughout the tournament. But it's amazing. As you watch the Czechs, they will have scored now an opportunity for Hordehay. They will have scored 8 goals in this tournament. Sudo in a position to shoot. He goes wide again as he just catches that one a little too early. Is this a break, though, for Shafranek? Can he go on a breakaway? And it's cleared down, and he could have been on a position to take that all the way down. Not sure. Matichka is happy to get it to Kubash. Kubash out. Oh, it's a hard collision there at the post, and Geyer will come in, play his man Sudo. Geyer will go right back in the penalty box. He just came out of there.
Yeah, it just led with his sled again, just pretty much the exact same play. Fortunately for Sudo, he was able to get a little bit out of the way there, but just a little too much enthusiasm there from Geyer coming out of the box, possibly trying a little bit too hard to get himself into the action here today.
We'll watch it again. Geyer just comes in, and he is, as you say, just released from the penalty box, coming out with a little too much gusto, certainly for the referee's liking. And that's where he will go back to the penalty box, and no doubt he's disappointed here with 4:55 to go. Boarding for Geyer. It's 5-1 for the Czechs. The Japanese goal that they have scored today is on a power play. They have another power play now as a result of Mikhail Geyer in the box. And whether or not they can get a second, they've got 4:55 remaining in this third period. 2 minutes, as you see, on this power play. They very well could. The last one taken by Takahashi was an absolute perler as he went off the bar down. And bar down, as any of you that watch hockey a lot, you know that's a popular phrase for going off the crossbar and in the net. It is a real pretty moment, and it's a real special goal to take. And it's really a goal scorer's goal as it is shot now and across the ice into the corner offensively. Japan looking to collect it back and get themselves reestablished in formation on the power play. Yuri Berger, though, disrupting it. And he does do that, doesn't he, the old veteran? Sudo can't keep it in. He throws on the brakes. He's lost sight of the puck. And this is the danger man who starts all the scoring. Oh, the sled up. There's no penalty. He looked to be appealing for the penalty. And that was Kropicka just suggesting that the sled was maybe high up in his face and not allowing him to pursue that loose puck. It's again the Japanese to the neutral zone, to the wide side. Kumagai, a man that can, with a plan, he can score. And look at how easily that was just taken off of him by Raul. And just the real strength one-on-one to win that battle. Sudo is just falling here. And it will be a reload and an attempt by this Japanese offense to try and generate a shot and get themselves the best opportunity still with the man advantage. Takahashi puts it out to an area, and they've just really run out of angles and real formation to get that 2-on-1 or to get that good shooting position. Yeah,
they've just worked themselves all the way down here, and looks like we have a couple of helmets stuck together here. A little equipment malfunction. Good to see both players just laughing it off here. Yeah, you just see the foot of Misawa Sled come up and catch Kropicka under the chin there. We've seen that a couple of times today. This is a rough one that we've had on our hands here today. A couple big hits, a couple situations like that where the Sleds have come up and a possible broken leg.
Kind of awkward collisions, aren't they? And they're often the ones you really can't account for because they surprise you. You can anticipate, you know, certain plays, but even that jabbing in there, you see from Takahashi has Havel down. Like he's got the point end of the blade going right into the forearm, just below the elbow pad, just above the glove, and at no point is that ever pleasurable.
No, not at all. And you know, no player ever intentionally stabs the other, but when both players do have two sticks with picks on the ends of them, it does happen sometimes. And many a games have been played where I've left the ice bleeding at the end of it.
And this is not a gladiator sport, but that's real life accounting from Taylor Lipset, who would know, playing at the World Championship level and the gold medal Paralympic level. In any competition, you generally find those that win have paid a greater sacrifice than those that just quite can't get over the hump. As Sudo is back, and he will get into a position in an area trying to allow his Japanese team to get out, but right now the Czechs are just in better position. They're looking a little bit stronger and more capable of asserting themselves to close out this hockey game. And the under 2.5 minutes now is on the clock, and you wonder whether or not there's another goal in the stick of Mikhail Geyer. He's one that you would expect it. He scored all of the goals before this game for the Czech Republic in this tournament. And then Yuri Berger, he's got 2 already. Kumagai, he has 2 in this tournament. He's just given it up in this neutral zone, and Hordehe will try and touch it on. And then Kubish as well with 2 today. So he a hat trick man. You gotta wonder as Herbeck will just load in. Not sure Herbeck's gonna be a hat trick man. He really is a steady Eddie back in the blue line, and good to see him continuing to play when he had a noticeable absence in the match against the Norwegians earlier on. But this is a play. Kropicka off the pipe and out. And they will just work the puck around late, the Czech Republic, and find a way to see if they can't get another shot in on goal. As right now, it's a little bit like a wrestling match, except they've got a real massive ring in which to commit to it. Herbeck will lay it on. There's a collision there, Kumagai. And this is Misawa, a late chance to Kumagai. Can he score? Oh, he's off the post and out.
You see Matusik there give his post a little tap with the old glove, telling it thank you. Keeping a goal off the board for him there. And we'd like to see if the Czechs could get in the zone here and give a pass to Berger to get one more shot at that hat trick. Berger going back to the bench, just an unselfish player there, playing like a good teammate.
He is in a defensive linchpin. Oh, that one goes off the post. And where did that come from? It's a wicked little snapshot coming off the right wing position. But it says a lot about Berger, doesn't it? Because I'm not sure if he's been on the cusp of getting a hat trick before, but it really was irrelevant to him. As Hardahey is in a good position. Oh my, and across the face of goal. And how many times do we say it, or do we get excited anticipating a shot and at least testing the goaltender, and they miss the net?
That's sort of been the story of the Japanese offense this week, is just missed opportunities and not being able to capitalize on those chances of good quality scoring chances. Just missing the net, and that'll drive a coach crazy. It will absolutely drive him crazy, and just not able to dial it in here today.
That's the way it'll finish in this qualification match. The final one of the tournament for both sides, as coming right across, Matuszek wanting to appeal. He wants the puck. He would like the puck. He doesn't get it. And we'll see whether or not that's determined, just to bring a punctuation point to the end of this tournament for both sides. And the Czech Republic, valiant, they get themselves across the line. They will be the first seed in the Pool B World Championships when they happen next. And you wonder whether or not Herbeck will be in the lineup for the team then. Just you wonder whether there's a little bit of a changing as a result of this World Championship performance.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how things pan out. But hopefully both these teams have some up-and-coming players in their programs back in their home countries. And we see some new, fresh faces for both of them in the future to help carry them on to the next level.
There you see 4 goals in the first and a goal apiece in the third. And they win 5-1, the Czech Republic, and they will finish 7th. The Japanese 8th at these World Championships in Buffalo, New York. And they have competed hard. They have competed proudly, as we are set and ready to announce the player of the game for Japan. And your thoughts?
You got to give it to 55 Takahashi for the Japanese with that bar down goal. Just a beauty. And then I've got to go with Kubesh for the Czech Republic. He had 2 goals and an assist and played really well today.
Yeah, he did. He had a couple. He was involved certainly in those first sequences just to get things going and kickstart the offense. He made the play across to start it off, and that was scored by Krapichka. But we'll look here. You're right about Takahashi. He'll come out now and acknowledge all of his teammates before he comes across and gets the trophy. But that's as sweet as a nut, isn't it? The goal he scores is he takes it down the slot and then, as you say, goes right off the top frame, the crossbar, and down. And it was, well, there was no chance in the Czech goal to make that save. The assistant captain, a strong tournament, a real face-off specialist. And now for the Czech Republic, the player of the game. And Pavel Kubesh will now come and acknowledge all of his teammates. And he'll come down and salutes. And I hope there for Matuszek that he gets the puck from the referee in the end. Maybe they will make that decision. I think it's the responsibility of the officials just to make sure that they tidy up what they get started here at these World Championships. But maybe quietly in the changing room afterwards, that'll be exchanged. As that is Pavel Kubesh, the player of the game for the Czech Republic, and Takahashi as well. And a moment before the last playing for either of these sides of a national anthem at these World Championships, and we will now pause for the playing of the Czech Republic national anthem in honor of their 7th place tournament, or 7th place finish at these World Championships. Always interesting to see how the teams align themselves as they stand in salute of their national anthem. And the Czechs really in a kind of a depleted lineup, as we saw Palat actually making his way during that anthem in a stretcher, and no doubt getting medical attention now as we look back over the stats of this hockey game.
Yeah, total pretty much domination by the Czech Republic today. You see them dominating every category except those face-offs, and each team able to convert on one of their power plays, but at the end of the day, the Czech Republic just too much for the Japanese.
And just to refer again there to David Palat as we look at these summaries there, hopefully not too badly injured. It's just sort of some incidental play, but the highlights starting right at the beginning. Zdeněk Krpička gets things started for this Czech party. Then they just continue to come. And that man there, he was a real key part all day. Pavel Kubiš, he ends up getting the player of the game. And then Berger, he puts on a little show before the end of the first.
Yeah, 2 quick goals by Berger there at the end of the first period. Really sealed the deal for the Czech Republic, and the Japanese just not able to recover. But we did see some good play by the Japanese in that second and third period, and eventually Takahashi able to tuck one under the bar there with a pretty bar-down goal.
A punctuation point from Takahashi. This is the end for both of these teams in Pool A competition at the World Championships. From Buffalo, New York, 7th place belongs to the Czech Republic. The Japanese with 8th. It's a 5-1 final.